Hey, it's Dorleen, and I'm just flipping through a junk journal of mine. Obviously, there's some marks all over this thing because as I'm doing projects, I'm not wasting paints and inks and things like that, and I'm just kind of squishing it and rubbing it all over these pages. Those are some jelly prints. Some of those are, like I said, just me putting my extra ink on things. Those are index cards. That was a jelly print. A lot of these are just book pages, junk mail, actual book pages, like novel books pages, leftover stickers, jelly plates, or jelly prints. Again, there's a workbook from a school book. That was from a postcard that I was going to throw away, and I really like those silhouettes. That was a jelly print that's obviously really, really busy. These are some finished pages that I did, and I've showed you before on my blog, which is www.craftsinthecommandcenter.blogspot.com. I know it's a mouthful, but I really do love the name, so I'm going to keep it. That was a postcard that I just kind of prettied. That skeleton was from a baby shower, actually, that I went to, and then I just put the white and made it like a sugar skull. That one I just finished. I don't think I've shown anyone that one yet. Just another random painting, and then I just put that Cricut silhouette die cut on it. It's a picture of my kids many, many, many moons ago, and that was just some stamping that I did. Again, that's a cast off. That's a heart doily that I folded in half and then adhered it. And that's about it for that. I guess we have a few more pages. These were some paint leftovers that I was using with the stencil, some scribbles, some marks, some cut up jelly prints, magazine pages. That's a brown paper bag. Again, just junk that should have been thrown away that I keep just to kind of play around with. So what I'm going to show you next is one of the new pages that I did. So stay tuned. And here we go. Remember that really, really super busy page? I'm going to basically cover it with gesso. And I'm using those are those plastic kind of fake credit cards that you get in the mail all the time. I keep those because I use them all the time. They're such a great scraper and good for everything. So I put that on there to cover and to lighten that big mess. And I'm going to put a stencil on, and that was actually leftover piece of paper from a project that I was cutting out a bunch of circles. But I thought, well, that would make a really good stencil. So again, that's kind of a piece of junk too. So I sprayed some ink spray on it. That spray my son actually found at a yard sale, and for 25 cents, so he brought that home. And you can see all that mess that I still had on my craft sheet that I put on another junk journal so I wouldn't waste that goodies. So you can kind of see where I get those splotches and things like that from those pages. That way it's a little bit easier to start a journal page, or at least in my opinion, with a page that's not just pure white. Sometimes that white page can be a little intimidating. So here I'm just pressing some paint in through a stencil, and when I'm done with it I realize you can't even really see that stencil. Yeah, you can see the yellow, but you can't see the flowers. There again, I'm not wasting paint, I'm putting it on somewhere else. So you'll notice that I just think, I'm going to try something else. So I use the same stencil, but this time I use an ink spray, and that ink spray is from Fun Stamper's Journey. That page that I used to block it was from another junk journal, so I did get some splashes on there too. So instead of all over my desk, I just kind of put it on there. So I shoved that stencil underneath there because it had a lot of paint or splash still on it. So I thought, well, let me just kind of put it there between some layers and see if I can get some splotches on another page. And then those are some stamps, a stamp that I used. I'm using black archival ink, and that way it won't run. And sometimes I like it to run, but in this particular case, excuse me, I didn't want it to run. So I'm just kind of stamping in 3 of the corners direct to the sheet, and also like the second and third generation. Now I have some white acrylic paint and some bubble wrap, which you'll see me pull out pretty soon. And I'm just putting paint right on the bubble wrap. You can see me do that, and then I'm just putting it right down. So you notice it's a little blotchy only because that's how I put the paint on, but I like it like that. So I'm just kind of blotching here, there, and everywhere, really focusing on that bottom corner. And I think I just wiped that up. There was enough white to worry about spreading it somewhere else. And gonna let that dry. Between these, I've been using my dryer, but I also cut those portions out because I know you don't want to see paint dry, especially with the dryer. But between every layer, I have been drying them. So that's another acrylic paint. I believe it's like a teal or something to that effect. I just use my finger and I'm just kind of rubbing around the circles, adding a little bit of highlight. At first I started and I thought, well, I'm going to do it on every single circle. And then I thought, no, I didn't want to do that. But by the time I was done, I got the majority of those circles, but originally I was kind of thinking I would do different colors for different circles, but I liked the idea of just the teal. I didn't need to have that much color in there. I didn't need to be so busy. So kind of off camera there, but you can see me put, again, extra paint, leftover paint on a different journal cover. So you'll probably see that in the future. So now what I do is, oh, that's the gold glimmer mist from Heidi Swapp. Now you have to shake it really, really good. And just when you think you've shaken it enough, you want to shake it more. So I just took the tube out and then just kind of dropping some big drops on it. The glimmer mist takes a long time to dry, so I'm using another journal to just kind of blot that off. So that way, and I think I did use the dryer a little bit to do a little bit more. So now I'm pulling out another stencil. That's called the Punchinella. I'm not sure how to say that, but these are one of my favorite stencils because I feel like you can use that in almost everything you do. But I just got some black acrylic paint, and again, just using my finger and putting it here, there, and everywhere. I put a little bit more on the bottom there because when I removed it, the amount I put on it kind of looked like a circle, so I wanted to change that shape a little bit. But I just put a little bit here, there, and everywhere. And if you notice, I poured a lot of paint, so I didn't want to waste it. And that's when I kind of go through and put it on different pages. Look at that. I rub it on the heart doily, and I love the way that looks. I'm sure I'm going to work on that page soon. But look at that. It just looks like black lace. It looks so cool. So I do end up putting a little bit more in other spots, but I still had a lot left. So I go back to the page I'm working on, and now I'm deciding I'm going to stamp something. Wasn't quite sure, but I like these old stamps that I have from years ago. I was going to do the solid, and then I thought I really like the outline stamp, so that's what I do. And again, I use the archival black ink because I didn't want it to run. I had a different idea of what I was going to do with it. So I stamped my first two pretty easily. I knew I wanted to concentrate on that corner. And then I wasn't quite sure if I was going to do a third one, but the whole rule of threes always gets me. I always feel like I'm breaking the law if I don't do three of something, which is probably pretty silly, especially when I'm just messing around. But I had a hard time kind of figuring out where I wanted to put it, and then eventually I just kind of put it anywhere. So you'll see me, there we go. And it's funny because I hardly ever clean anything else. You'll notice I didn't clean my stencils or anything, but I always clean my stamps. I am really good about that. So now I realize I don't like the way those flowers look. Oh, no, actually, haha, sorry. I decided to write. I'm always, I just handwrite stuff, and I always think, oh, I'm going to do something fancy. And, like my daughter puts it in pencil first, and she makes it all fancy and pretty. And I just stick with using the marker and just go for it. And I did film how I was writing it, but I didn't think I needed to keep it on. Obviously, I just wrote it and did it with a black Sharpie. So now I'm using white acrylic paint, and I'm painting inside the petals of those flowers because I don't like that they are the background color. Did I say that right? The background's really busy, which I love, but I didn't want the flowers to just take on those colors. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you get me. So I go back and forth with that, with those petals, and try to get a really solid image. And then I realized I don't want them white, so I thought, I'm going to try something different. So I used my gelatos, and I think that color is watermelon. and I just go through, put a little lines here and there. I didn't cover the entire thing, but then I get my same water brush, and then I start basically painting them. And you can see, I love the way this looks. It really looks like a watercolor effect, and like I'm definitely going to do that on more projects because I love, 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 love the way it looks. So I went back and did those a couple of times and darkened it up. One of the flowers, when I did the white paint, I totally removed the stem, I don't know, the middle thing. So that's why I painted, stamped that back on there. But I totally love the way that looked, and I just love how colorful it is. So right now I have the script stamp, and that's one I have in my hand that I was gifted from a person named Rubber Paws, and you can read about her on my blog, which is www.craftsinthecommandcenter.blogspot.com, and you can read more about her there. But there you go, all done. Isn't that so pretty? I remember how ugly that page is when I started. Oh, and here's another flip through the same album. Most of the pages I didn't do, but I just kind of want to flip through it again. I already talked through the cover, and I apologize, but I redid the cover, and I redid these pages. See, remember when I did those yellow dots? There you go. So I did these pages. I added that index card, and I love the way that one turned out. I guess I did it a little too quickly. I'm speeding through these. I'm gonna, and there's the page we just finished. Again, those are the finished pages we've done before with some postcards and photos. I really want to tackle that page because it's so ugly. And then there's that amazing heart. There's a little bit of black that I put on that one. There's a black that I put on the green polka dots. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.